What's up, YouTube? I was about to do just a regular cabochon, and I thought, well, maybe I should make a video doing a regular cabochon. I think I'm gonna do this one with some square wire, and as usual, I don't have a particular plan, so we'll just kind of feel it out as we go. I think I'm gonna go with a 3-wire setup on this one. So I have wire for the bail and then pairs of wires on each side to have some options for weaving. And we'll see what we can do. This is just a little red, I thought it was a jasper, a red jasper, but then I see that it's got some clear areas on it, and so now I don't know. It almost has some agate look to it, so maybe it's an agate. Yeah, I don't know. I blended right in with my red jaspers, so I was surprised when I took a closer look that it didn't seem to match. So anyway, doesn't really matter one way or another for the video. But all right, I've got about 12 inches of square wire, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the middle with half round, and as usual, just try to get the wires next to each other without piling them over each other. And I like to do, it's just a small little guy, so we'll just do about 5 wraps in the middle. 4 or 5 should work. Can see this, and I've been doing a lot of loops the last few videos, so I'm going to try to maybe do less loops and more weaving. So that's my goal right now, and I'm going to go ahead and break out my trusty block that I wrap the stone on. Well, not wrap it, but like form the wire to it. It's a double-sided tape on a piece of plastic, basically. A piece of wood would work, anything that's firm. And so we'll just kind of roughly form that to here. And go ahead and put a little extra on the sides of the half round. I was kind of thinking I might not do that, but we're backtracking. So probably should have done this before I curved the wires, but not a big deal. There is so much work that you can do after the stone's secure that it doesn't really matter. Going back and adding a lot of things to it. I'm just going to do 3 wraps on this side and maybe 3 on the other. There's that one. Give you a little bit of a close-up there. I'm sure I'll slide this down quite a bit. Let me know what you think of the camera angle as usual. I'm trying something a little bit different because last time I was not too happy with the way I was having to pull the wires between the legs of my tripod to get anything done. And that's kind of annoying. Maybe sometime I'll get like a camera that mounts on my head or something like that. I don't know. If you have any tips for people filming things when they work with their hands, that would be awesome. If not, I'm sure I will figure something out eventually. So there we go. Bottom and sides wrapped in half round. 20 gauge square for the frame. Now, something I've been doing a little bit lately, I don't know if I did this in my last video or not, I can't remember, is I've been, instead of using a separate wire to wrap the top, I've been using one of the wires from the frame to do that, and I think it works pretty well and it looks pretty good. So also allows me to get a little bit tighter. I'm gonna pick a wire from the left side, the frontmost wire, but it kind of makes it interesting because at this point I can let's see here, straighten that up. I am working faster than my brain's keeping up. So okay, all right, so we're forming the wires to the stone. Try to get that good and straight, because nothing worse than when it's not straight. Pull it a little tighter, and we can still move the sides around just a little bit until we lock them in. So anyway, the frontmost wire on the left side, it's going to go around and hold the wires for us. Let me change the angle here a little bit. I'm going to hang it off the side of my table because the wire is kind of long, and this will keep it from dragging the table. And this just gives us a little bit of a different look, and it's easier to do as far as not having to fight with the wire. So works well, looks cool, I like it. One thing I keep saying every time I do a video is I haven't found the way that I like to do that yet, but maybe we're closing in on the way. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock the stone in. I do that by turning it with the back up and starting at where the bottom of the stone is. I'm gonna pull the frame in slightly to lock the stone back. We're just gonna do the furthest back wire. And we don't want to go overboard and pull it in like crazy. We also want to make sure we do it the same way on both sides, because if you pull from the top on one side and then pull from the bottom, like if I bent this one in this way and then flip the stone around and bent this other side in this way, they wouldn't match. So I try to bend them, push in the same direction so that they look like they match, like that. So not bad. And go ahead and lock in the front too, so I can focus less on the stone falling out of the frame, because that is my main concern for the first half of doing any of these. And yes, I'm just using my nails so far. I try to get away with that as much as I can, just because I don't leave tool marks on anything with my nails, so it works for me. And since this frontmost wire wrapped around the top ones, it's got a slightly different look, but it works. And then I just pulled the frame out just ever so slightly on the sides, and now it's locked in good enough to get to work on it. Let's see here. So I have to decide which wires are going to do which job. The wire that's twisted around the upper wires, I'm going to go ahead and push it to the left side, because I don't think I want it to be a bale wire, because I think that's just too much bending for it to do. And then I want a pair of wires on each side to do a little bit of weaving. So we'll do the backmost wires to the back, one from the left, one from the right, and those will be the bale wires. And I'm going to do a pretty simple bale. It seems like I'm always drawn to doing them simply, but and then these two on the right will go to the right, and this one on the left will go to the left. And I think that's going to work. So we'll go ahead and skip to the bail. I'm just going to use half round, and I usually end up going a little bit short on the bail as far as wrapping it, because from the front you'll see the hump of the bail and you'll see the beginning of my wrap, but then I usually terminates pretty high, and this one I think I'm going to wrap it a little bit lower and see how that turns out, just for a different look. And as usual, it's early and I caffeinate heavily in the morning, so I apologize for hand shaking. I've also been told that maybe it's because I'm an old person that I have shaky hands, and that's rude. But, you know, it is what it is. For the record, I'm in my mid-30s, so not young, but not so old that I can't relate to when I was a little younger. So anyway, alright, so got the half round going. I've gone around about 7 or 8 times. We're going to slide that guy down. Actually, I need to go ahead and trim that. I'll make the most of that other side and then tuck it and trim it. Feels like I'm not using my tools much today. That's okay. Alright, so the part that I'm going to push up against the stone, I've trimmed the end, I've tucked it, and then once it's in place up here, I'm going to push them really tight together so that my bail looks nice and tight. And then I think I'll go ahead and finish wrapping it, and then we'll use the pliers to kind of squeeze the half round down. And you know what? I used about 4 inches of half round, and it still seems like I could go further with it. So maybe next time I'll go with like 8 inches, just for a different look. This is plenty. This is going to look good. This is a small stone. Actually, once I bend the bail back, I might even feel like this is exactly what it needed. So get that pushed down, and then just kind of use the pliers to squeeze them to the bail wires and form onto it. And I just really enjoy working with half round. It's just it really locks in and does its job well. I like it a lot. There's not a lot of fighting with it. I'm going to use my ring mandrel to form the bail as usual. I'm going to go with a relatively small loop up here because it's a small cab. And there we go. See, you can push really hard against it and it won't deform your loop. Here's a close-up. I try to do a close-up, but then I forget sometimes. So there's the half round. It's going to give it a fun look from the front. And I'm going to go ahead and curl these wires in the back and then secure them to the sides of the frame for some strength. And I'll probably do that with a 28 gauge, but we'll see if we can do it with half round first, because it'll match everything else. Not that it matters, it's the back. No one seems to care too much about the backs. I like doing the back. I always think it's fun to see how things are secured. And I said this on my Facebook page. If you follow me much, I say this a lot, but I've had a few people tell me, well, not tell me, but they've shown me pictures. Oh, like, hey, here's the pendant. This is what it looks like. I really like it. And they're wearing the pendant backwards because they like the back, and that's funny to me. But I don't see any reason why your back of the stone can't look as nice as the front, at least to a degree, especially with this style. I'm sure there's more complex patterns where you just do what you need to do to get it in there, but for my stuff it works. Just do the back nice, do the front nice, call it a day. So I'm going to use the half round if it'll fit. Yep, there we go. And this could be tricky, but we'll work with it. But yeah, it's going well so far. Now to get those a little bit tighter, I usually do this on the first go around, but I didn't do it. I thought I had it tight enough, but I don't really care for that. So we'll do tighter. There we go. And once you get it right, it just really works well, the half round. Oop. Got all this extra wire in the way. Usually I do 3 wraps in the middle of a loop and then 3 wraps on each side. This one I don't have much room, so I may have to improvise a little. I might just secure it to the loop of the frame. See, this is where things slow down because you're trying to secure the stone, you're making a lot of loops, and this is where the time starts to add up when you're working on these guys. When you're trying to do things quickly and then bam. So this is such a small pin, I think I'm just not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to go ahead and trim the wire and tuck it into the loop just to do something different. I usually don't tuck around 2 wires like that, but I feel good about this one. It's such a compact design, and we're using the square wire, which is strong stuff. So I'm gonna try not to fret too much and just get on with it. I'm also trying to make a video that's not 2 hours long, that's about wire wrapping. So I know you really have to have the patience of a saint to make it through my other videos, but it seems like some people have, and I totally appreciate that. But when you're making them and posting them, you know, especially coming from a background where a lot of my older videos I was doing the speed edits because that's something that seems to be pretty popular for the masses anyway. My most watched video is 3 days of work compacted into 20 minutes of video, and it's all sped up, you know, significantly. But you just can't do that with wire wrapping. It's just too small and intricate. It just doesn't work. Whoa, 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 whoa. So anyway, I'll wrap this other side and then give you another close-up. I gotta watch things, make sure they don't start to pile up and overlap and all that stuff, because it can get out of control. You can end up with gaps if you don't catch them as you go, because nobody needs a bunch of gaps in their wraps. That guy in. Here's how it's looking. Secured it to the side of the frame right there. A 20 gauge square on a pendant this size just feels like plenty. So it's pretty strong stuff. It's also really neat to work with because you can twist with it and weave really well with it. Oop, slipped out. All right, there we go. So we're looking good. Got the bail in, the stones locked in. From here forward, we're just going to be doing some weaving and then securing it to the front. So I'm excited to see how this one turns out. You know, things just always look so much nicer once they start coming together. It's hard to just grab a stone and see what it's going to look like near the end, but this one's already looking nice. I'm excited to see it through, so we'll get right into it. Okay. So, I think what I'm going to do is on the weave side, which I think will be, if you're facing it, it'll be the left side. I'm going to take that back wire that's curled around the bail, and I'm going to pull that wire around to the front, and then this left wire that's by itself, I'm going to keep it straight. But by doing that, we're locking those two wires right next to each other so there won't be a gap. And I think that's what I'm going to do to weave it in place. So I'm pulling it tight right here so where the wires intersect, it's very close to the bail. And then we'll do our weaving and see how that turns out. I'll go ahead and get into it. But we have to weave. I was thinking we'd stick with a half round for this for the most part, but for the weaving you gotta do it with a 28 gauge round. I'm going to try to do it off my large spool, but I might have to pull it off of there. We'll see. So, on the backmost wire, I'm going to go ahead and loop around that guy about 4 or 5 times, and then slide it close to the bail. And that tail, I'll probably, I think I might wrap the tail around the other side a couple times just to get it really nice and secure. Because it's long, but you don't have to do that. You could just cut and tuck on the same side that you start the weave on. Just doing something a little different. We'll see how it works out. Okay, so for the weave, I'm going to go figure 8 pattern. So we'll bring that to the front. Let me do a couple more rounds to where they're a little bit more even. There we go. So we'll go under, over, around, push it down, wrap it 2, 3 times, and then pull it back to the other side, go over, then we'll round it 3 times, go back to the other side, and then from the side you should see the figure 8 pattern form as you go. If you get kind of confused about where you're at, just go back and look at the side profile, and it'll keep things straight for you. Let's see if you can see this at all. Hopefully this is not confusing. This is the first time I've discussed weaving at all. So there we go. Doing the other side. I'm not super proficient at weaving, but I have done some, and I have not had many problems with how it turned out, so we'll do it and see how it goes. Might be starting out a little bit wide for the stone. Yeah, let's see if we can kind of close that up a little bit. You probably want to have your widths locked in before you get too far into this. Okay, I think we can work with this. I'm gonna give it a couple extra loops on the side that the wire ends on, just because that's usually what I do. And then we'll go ahead and, I like to push the weave down to where a lot of it's in the front of the stone, because I just like the way it looks. If it's totally on the side, it's hard to see it real well. It looks really nice in person, but it doesn't photograph well, and that doesn't make itself easy to, you know, if you're gonna try to sell a piece online, if you can't get the piece to look nice in a picture, it's just difficult to sell. So I want to make it look nice in photo and video, and so my opinion is that a lot of it needs to be to the front, so we'll see. We'll just start kind of pressing that down. And I think the backmost wire will be lined up with the frame. And then the frontmost one is probably going to go across the front. So here's kind of where it's going. And I think what I might do, I'm not sure how I want to secure this to the back. Probably going to go half round to the rear of the frame. And I'm going to go ahead and secure the back before I shape the front, just to do it. So I wish I could tuck a wire, but everything's fairly tight. But sometimes I like to tuck the legs. This one doesn't seem to want to do it that way, so we'll just do it differently. So get my bail wire out of the way. I think I'm going to curl it around this middle area, and then I have the option of securing it a few different ways. But there we go. Yeah, that's going to look nice. So I'm going to use half round to secure the leg to the back of the frame over here. It's a little tight, so may have to get the needle in there to give us some room. No, it feels good right there. Maybe I just was pushing it in wrong. So, all right. Sometimes you have to curl the end of the wire a good bit to get it to feed the direction you want it to feed. Especially if it's coming in from the side up to the middle with a curl that it has to go inside, or filigree twist, whatever. So let's try it from a different angle. Well, that's going to be the same. Let's try it this way. I think I've even said that in a video in the past. Coming from the side to the middle sometimes works well. In this particular case it is, even if I didn't say that. But see if I can pull this tight without it moving too much. Yeah, there we go. So, just so you can see what's going on. So I've got this back weave wire curled around in the middle of the opening between the frame, and then I'm securing it to the far side of the frame. And I'm doing this so when I get the other leg of the weave in the front of the stone, it's already secured, so I don't have to worry about it going anywhere as I'm securing the frame after, because that side's going to be a little bit more fragile. I think. And I'm more concerned with how it looks because it is in the front. So it is slightly more concerning how it looks up front than the back. But they both can look nice. Alright, we're just going to do 2 rounds, cut it and tuck it. And the shorter these get, the more likely you are to have to use your pliers to put them where they need to go. With these bale wires sticking out the way they are, they're kind of right in my usual work area. Okay, open that up a little bit. You know what, that's gonna work just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and cut and tuck it because I'm just gonna mangle the tip and it doesn't matter anyway. Alright, so the weave is there, the back is secured. I think that's gonna work great. So now that the back is secured, I'm going to cut this other weave wire. Make sure I know where it's coming around. Okay, I see it. Okay. I think I'm going to go. Let's see here. What are we going to do? I'm going to have it go fairly straight down and tight to the stone, and then going just to the side of the middle weave that locks the stone in on the bottom. So I think that's gonna work well. And before I cut that, I like to think about whether or not I can do anything else with it. And I think I'm gonna, I said I was gonna use fewer loops on this one just to make something different looking. So see you later. Cut that off. And then I'll use more half round to secure the loop to the front of the frame. So just so you can see what it looks like. It loops just to the side of this right here. So it's gonna be tied in somewhere in that vicinity. Probably a little bit high just because how tight the wires are close to that, close to the center. They get really tight. Really, really tight. Okay. There we go. Maybe I won't need that pin for long. So, all right, try to hold that down where I want it. Hope this goes in without needing the pin again. There we go. Pin was not liking that angle, so get that out of there. All right. I'm gonna go minimalist on number of wraps in the front, I'm just going to go with 2s. I think that'll work just fine. So, got it secured on one side in the center. So go ahead and lock it on the other side. There we go. Mangled the end of the wire, so cut it off and fix it. Probably mangle it again. A little bit. Alright, I'm starting to bunch a little bit, so I need to be careful and slow down. And my dogs are probably about to bark. I think I heard the mailman. Alright, so we'll go ahead and cut and tuck the wires. Let's see if I can get that a little bit longer. There we go. I think I trimmed it a little bit short. It's bound to happen once in a while. Cut the other side, tuck it in. Well, it might be too short to be okay with that. I'm going to cut that off inside. Oh, there they are. Like clockwork. Hopefully he delivers quickly. You guys don't have to listen to much of that. Alright. So, the back secure, the front secure. Got our nice weave there, just for a different look. And on this side, we're going to do, I think we're going to do a little bit of a weave. I'm not sure how long I'm going to go, because that's pretty dominating looking. So let's see how we could do this. You know what, I might just curl this side, just because it's such a dominant look on the other side. I think I might go. But I also said I wasn't going to do too many curls, so it's a dilemma. Well, I said I wouldn't do too many loops. How about that? Can we get away with just doing curls and not loops? Sorry, everyone. Okay, so sticking with the theme of not too many loops, but we'll do some curls. We'll stick that top wire up here. And then that lower wire. I'm going to try to kind of send it over the top of the other curl and loop around it. Alright, I'm gonna have to do a curl. You guys, I just can't not do it. It's just right there, so I do it. Okay, go down, around. I don't know why I can't not do that, but it's the way it looks. I like it. I'm a liar. Sorry, everyone. Maybe I'll just add music to this video, and you'll never know that that was my plan all along, to not do curls. You'll just think, oh wow, it turned out fine. He's totally not lying. Alright, how about that? What do we think? A little twist here, a little twist there. I think it's pretty cool. It's a fun look. And do some more half round weaving. Let's get it locked in. Okay, got the half round fed through. Use the needle to raise it up. I'm going to secure this one by the bottom most loop first, because I feel like it makes sense in this scenario. And hopefully won't have to do a whole lot of securing, because it's a pretty strong design, so we'll see what it needs. Just don't want to go too overkill. But yeah, I'm excited. You never know how things are gonna turn out, especially when you don't have a plan and you're just kind of making things up. I think part of my problem today on these weaves, which I am having a slight problem just because I keep cutting them too short, is I'm not using my magnifying light. So, to forgive me on those. Alright, so bottom curl secured to the frame. And you know what? It feels pretty strong. I like the feel of that a lot. I think what I might do is bind these two right here and then call that good. Push everything tight to the stone. You know, I don't even know if that's necessary, because the smaller wire of the two, the short one, is behind the top one. See that being it's just got nowhere to go. You know what, I might call it good. I'm trying not to make a 2-hour-long video doing this anyway. So there's the back. There's our weave. Thought we might have a 3-3 in there somewhere, but not today, I guess. Not today. I think it turned out pretty nice. Get this one oxidized. If you want to see pictures of it up close, check out my Instagram or my Etsy, because it'll probably be there later today. So thanks for watching.